R. Kelly says it this way. When a woman loves, she loves for real. When a woman loves, she loves for real. This is what he goes on to say. She filled my soul with the very touch of her hand. She really did. And she's got more faith in me than a beach has got sand. And I'd like to tell her that I'm forever indebted. I'm forever indebted because of her. When a woman loves, she loves for real. It would never die young. Even when I'm dead and gone, I'm going to love her from the sky. Yes, because she's given me something no other woman has ever given me. When she took me back, she made me think. When a woman loves, she loves for real. Here, R. Kelly talks about the intensity and the depths of a woman's love. And my brothers and sisters, I would contend and argue there is not a creature on the face of the earth that loves more intently, more intentionally, and more individually than a woman. Yeah. And the awesome irony of the intensity of a woman's love is that that's never her command. If we look at Ephesians chapter 4, the command of the woman is never to love. Paul says that Jesus says that men ought to love their wives like Christ loved the church. And then the wives ought to submit to their own husbands. She's not commanded to love. And I often wonder that why doesn't God command a woman to love? If we're going to be in a relationship, if we're going to be in a partnership, we almost got to have a Barney theology about this thing. Barney says, I love you, you love me. We're a happy family. But my brothers and sisters, Barney does not set the parameters for God's relationship because he never commands her to love. And I would submit, I would argue that he doesn't command her to love because he built her to. He built her to love. She's made to love. She's made to love and to be loved. She is intrinsically wired to be a part of a relationship and a covering and to desire affection. Part of the issue that we have is we've got a bunch of folk who act like they don't need affection. I know men, brothers, we macho, we tough. We don't need affection. We don't need the mushy stuff. But the reality is, and I come to help some sister who think your man crazy, every now and then he wants you to wrap your arms around him. He wants you to whisper in his ear. He wants you to kiss on him and rub on him. Why? Because even the most macho and manly of us have a desire for the affection of the one we desire. And the reason we have such a desire for the love is because of the intensity of the love that she shares. When a woman loves, she loves for real. She loves with everything she has. Let's take a trip through the text and see how the text supports our claims. First of all, when a woman loves, she loves with her brain. What do you mean? She loves with her brain or with her head. It starts there, which is usually the opposite of most men. Where a woman's love starts at the head and works its way down, generally a man's desire starts about the legs and works its way up. But she loves with her brain. She loves with her head. How do you come to that, Traylor? I'm glad you asked. I looked at chapter 1, verse 3. First of all, she conceives the person. She has an idea in her mind of the person who's going to be able to captivate her. She conceives the person in her thoughts, and she has a desire for him. Let's take a look at verse 3. She says, kiss me, fall on the mouth, for yes, your love is better than wine, more aromatic, more headier than the aromatic oils. The syllables of your name murmur like a meadow's brook. No wonder everyone loves calling your name. First of all, Solomon has this Shulamite woman's head gone. She said, listen, the idea of loving you gets me more drunk than whiskey. I get more intoxicated from the thought of being with you than I do from drinking all of the finest wines. And when she says vintage wine, what she suggests is being caught up with you is more intoxicating than the best of wine. In other words, she said, baby, you better than Ciroc. You got more potency than Grey Goose. You smoother than Hennessy, and you got such a smooth flow, better than Martell or Remy Martin. In other words, even the finest of beverages don't compare to how I feel when I'm caught up in the rapture of you. She conceives this man in her mind. She becomes bubbly when she thinks of him. Why? Because when a woman loves, she loves for real. She loves with her brain. First, she conceives the person. All right. And then, while she's still loving with her brain, she corrals the passion. She corrals the passion. Traylor, how do you suggest that she corrals the passion? Well, you got to look at verse 4. In verse 4, she says to him, take me away. Take me to your chamber. In other words, she says, let's go to your place. Let's go by your crib. And let me talk parenthetically. It's hard to get in a woman's mind if you ain't got nowhere to take her. If you don't have a place where you can take her, it's going to be difficult for you to even occupy any brain space, because listen, help me Jesus, I get tired of listening to brothers talking about, baby, let me come over to your house and let's just chill. Listen, chill is code language for make progress towards sex. So listen, let's not go to my place, let's go to your place. And if you don't have a place, then this conversation will cease to take place. We can't keep talking about this. She says, come on, take me away. Take me to your place. She has in her mind what's going to happen when she gets with the man who she's conceived. After she conceives the person, she begins to corral the passion. Most women know whether or not they're going to talk to you within the first few minutes of seeing you. They've sized you up, they've checked you out, they did a swag check, and they've determined whether or not you're going to get conversation. So once they conceive the person, then they corral the passion. But not only did this Shulamite woman conceive him, corral the passion, but then she communicated it to the people. When a woman loves, she loves for real, and she doesn't hide it. Traylor, where do you get she communicates it with the people? It's right there in verse 4. She says, I understand why they want you. In order for her to understand that they want him, there has to have been some communication with these other daughters of Jerusalem and this Shulamite woman about Solomon. Check the scene. These girls are hanging around the city. They're hanging in a group, and Solomon comes through all suave and debonair. Mind you, he's from a royal family. This is David's son. This is the son of the soon-to-be king of Israel. So he ain't scraping. He's not struggling. He ain't got on holy blue jeans and ran over tennis shoes. The brother is adorned with power. The reason you understand that, if you read chapters 2, 3, and 4, she talks about the ornaments of his neck being draped like balls of diamonds, and the strings of his arms being like bands of gold. So the brother's got all his stuff together. He's looking right. He's smelling right. He's dressed right. And she's talking to the other girls about it. Why? Because when she loves for real. When a woman loves, she loves with her brain or with her head. Secondly, when a woman loves, she loves with her bosom or her heart. Within the bosom of a person, the bosom of a woman lies the most life-sustaining and giving organs to the entire body. Your heart, your lungs, your kidney, your liver. Everything that it takes to sustain life is contained in what old folks call your bosom. And when a woman loves, she loves with her bosom or her whole heart. One thing that we must agree on is that she loves with everything in her. But the reason she can love with everything in her is, first, let's look at the text, she decided to want him. She decided to want him. My brothers and sisters, I come to serve notice that love is not a feeling, it's not an emotion, it's not a rush, it's a decision. You make a decision that I'm going to free myself to be in love with this individual. She makes a decision to love him. Look at what she says. She says, listen, don't look down on me because I'm dark but comely. The message says because I'm weathered. She decided to love him because he admired her in spite of what she perceived as her deficiency. Right. And my brothers and sisters, if you ever want a woman to love you with her whole heart, prove to her that you love her in spite of her baggage. Prove to her you love her in spite of the things she struggles with. Prove to her you desire her in spite of what she says. Listen, my mother's sons, they put me out in the field because I was working out in the field. My skin is dark, I'm tattered and torn, and I thank God for the but, because the but in the text suggests not a but of opposition, but a but of acquisition. Right. She said, listen, I'm black but beautiful, and the but is not, she's not saying I'm black and beautiful in spite of my blackness, but what's really suggested is I'm beautiful because of my blackness. Right. The reality is the things that a woman suffers, the things that she endures, the things that she goes through help develop her into the beautiful woman that draws us in. The beating of the sun made her look better. The struggle of her brothers made her more attractive. And when she decides to love, she's going to decide to love somebody who loves her in spite of what's happened to her. Somebody who loves her in spite of what's going wrong with her. When a woman loves, she loves for real. She decides to love him. And then she's loving with her heart. Not only does she decide to love him, she chooses to desire him. Look at verse 7. The word I in verse 7 from the Hebrew text, and it says I in the New King James, it suggests the idea that my whole soul or my whole person love. When she says, come he whom I love, that's what your King James or New King James Version should say in verse 7. Says, come he whom I love. What she literally says is, come on, man, my whole soul loves you. My entire being desires you. She wants to be where he is. Look at what he said. What she said. She said, come here whom my soul loves. Tell me where you're going to be resting the flock at noonday. A couple of things in the text that will help her decide to desire you. First of all, this sister knew that Solomon had a job.
All right.
It's right here in the text. She says to Solomon, tell me where you're going to be working, and I'm going to come up there.
All right.
Tell me when you're going to be tending your sheep at noonday. And then, why? Because she desires him. She wants to be in his presence. And there's a couple of things we all know about the text. Notice she didn't say where you're going to be all day. She didn't say where you're going to start work, where you're going to finish work, where you're going to be at noonday. Because she understands that noonday is what is called siesta time. At siesta time, the shepherds allow the sheep to stretch out and to rest in the shade, and then the shepherd refreshes himself, relaxes and reclines, and sometimes even takes a nap. So she says, listen, I desire you, but I desire your undivided attention. I don't want to come while you're working. I don't want to come while you're messing with the sheep. But while you're at leisure, while you're relaxing, I want to come see you. In other words, I want your undivided attention.
All right.
When she loves with her heart, she decides to love him. She chooses to desire him. And then finally, she requires definition from him. Traylor, how did you come up with she desires definition from him? She said, must I come? I'm still in verse 7. Walk with me if you can.
All right.
Come like one of the veiled women, going from flock to flock. See, it was a modern custom in that day. Prostitutes always wore veils. They covered their faces. You cross-reference my lesson in Genesis chapter 38 when Tamar veiled herself so that she would look like a prophet, and she goes in to her deceased husband's father and becomes pregnant by him. So listen, what the Shulamite woman says is, I need you to define who I am. You've got to define the parameters of this relationship. When I show up, they need to know I'm not one of them garden tools chasing you. They need to know who I am, Solomon. I'm not wearing a veil. Do I have to go back and take the cover off? I tried to veil it. She says, Solomon, they need to know I'm not one of them hoes chasing you. I am the desired woman of your life. I need definition from you. I want to know that you want to see me. I want to know that you desire to see me. I want to know that you're looking for me. And my brothers and sisters, when a woman loves, she loves for real. She decides to love him. She chooses to desire him, but she requires definition from him. He's got to make sure everybody knows who she is, why she is, where she is, and what she is to him. I'm trying to get through. I'm almost. But when a woman loves, she loves for real. She loves with her brain. She loves with her bosom. And I know it's going to get chicken tight right up and through here, but we got to go down there. She loves with her body. I didn't make that up. That's in the Bible.
All right.
She loves with her body. If you look at Song of Solomon chapter 8, and there's something I need to point out while you turn it over to Song of Solomon chapter 8. In verse 1, in chapter 1, she starts to love with her head. She moves on to love with her heart. But it isn't until chapter 8 that she actually loves with her humanity. I heard a song say, you can't hurry love. You just have to wait. Love don't come easy. It's a game of give and take. But the irony of the text, if you read chapters 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, you will find that they spend those 6 chapters teasing one another. They show up at each other's houses, talking very graphically and very explicitly about the other. He says to her, your breasts are like snow-capped peaks. They stand and they're glazed with ointment. Then she goes on to say, when I smell the fragrance of your spikenard, in other words, when I smell your cologne, my pomegranates begin to bud. That is imagery for the stiffening and hardening of the breast. Then she goes on to say, eventually my gates will be open to you. You will explore the fields of my heritage. You'll begin to stroke the wheat field. I don't know if you understand it, but let me put some skin on it. The legs are the gates. She says they're going to be open to you. You're going to explore the wheat field. That's the hair of the pubic area. This Shulamite woman understands that once I can love him with my head, once I can love him with my heart, I don't mind loving him with my humanness. I can love him with my brain. I can love him with my bosom. And if he loves my brain right and he treats my heart right, he don't have a problem getting my body. Because when she loves, Y'all got Song of Solomon chapter 8, verse 12. You said, I don't see sex in chapter 12. I think I want to help you see it. All right. There's one phrase he says, my own vineyard. He suggests that now it's his. If you read in chapter 2 and chapter 3, when he talks about the vineyard or the place of production, that's what a vineyard is. A vineyard is a place where crops and different things are produced. He uses the metaphoric language of the vineyard to talk about her goodie stack, in other words. And he says to her in those chapters, your vineyard, your vineyard, your vineyard. But when he gets to chapter 8 and verse 12, he does not use your vineyard. He says, my vineyard. Now he has been given access to her humanity. He's been given access to who she is. Why? Because he's been allowed to enter her body. Why? Because he's already in her brain. He's already in her bosom. So now he gets the pleasure of being in her body. And for those of you that don't understand what in is, the Bible says that Jacob went into Leah, and when he came out, she had a son.
All right.
So now, because he has satisfied her brain, he has pleased her bosom, now he can receive her body. Let's take a look at the text. He had, check this out. This is the power of a woman love. He had to take her brain. He had to seize her bosom. But she's going to give him. She's going to give him her body.
All right.
And the reason, brothers, most of us have difficulty is because rather than get the brain, the bosom, and the body, we try to get the body, then see if there really is a bosom, and then we'll try to play with the brain. But when a woman loves, she loves for real. In algebra, there's what's called order of operation. And when you do algebra and you deal with the order of operation, if you don't follow the order properly, you'll never end up with the right result.
All right.
The order of operation, let me see if I can remember. It's PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. It's the order of operation. It says you got to work the parentheses first.
All right.
Then work the exponents. Do the multiplication. Then the division. Do the addition, and then the subtraction, and then you come up with the result. If you do any of them out of order, you'll come up with the wrong answer. And my brothers and sisters, when a woman loves, she loves for real, and it's just like algebra. You gotta do it in the right order. If you don't do it in the right order, you're gonna get the wrong result. And here's the thing about algebra. You've got all the same numbers, all the same qualities, all the same factors, but if you handle them wrong, you can't get the right result. And when you deal with a woman, she's got all the same features, all the same facets, all the same circumstances, but if you handle them wrong, your result's going to be different. The same brother said, when a woman's fed up, there ain't nothing you can say. Why does she get fed up? It's because you try to work the process in the wrong order. But if you get the brain and the bosom and... Let me close. I'm getting down in the nitty-gritty. He says in verse 8, chapter 12, it's my vineyard. So first of all, we understand that her body is his by possession. Look at the text. He uses the possessive pronoun my. And in chapter 8, verses 6 and 7, she says to him, set your seal upon my heart and upon my finger, upon my arm. In those days, the seal of a man was his covenant agreement. If a man's seal was on a thing, it was an official document. It was declared his. And she says, I want you to put your stamp on me. I want you to take possession of me. So her body was his by possession. Can I tell you something? You can't possess something that you're not going to pay for. In other words, you can't possess what you can't provide for. Too many brothers want the booty, but it won't pay no bills. Too many brothers want the body, but won't you? We've got to get to a place where we understand how she loves. Listen, I've come to discover it. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about my own life. I've come to understand when she feels safe, when she feels secure, when she knows that she's provided for, you don't have to work for intimacy. You ain't got to play cat and mouse. You can lock eyes and it's all because her mind remembers, this boy got my head gone. This boy got my heart gone. And I'm not worried about what's going to happen because I know he has me secure. So let's get it on. I'm in the Bible in case you didn't know. You can only see me if you open your Bible. Her body is his by possession. But secondly, her body is his by passion. Her body is his by passion. Follow the text. If you look at chapter 8, verse 14, and then you cross-reference chapter 1, verse 16, you'll find that what she wants and what he wants are the same thing. They want the mutuality of passion. They want to do this together, and she decides early in the flick how it's going to go down. Look at chapter 1, verse 16. Somebody read it, tell me what it says. You read it, and I'm going to tell you what it says. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 16. She talks about how he looks to her. And can I tell you something? People say looks ain't everything, and you're right. But listen, you got to comb your hair. You got to brush your teeth. You got to put some clothes on. They need to match. They need to look right together. Why? Because her desire for him starts with her perception of him. Her passion for him is predicated on how she perceives him. She talks about how good she looks and how good he looks and what's going on. But then she goes on to say, come with me. Our bed is green and our rafters are like the furs of Lebanon. Do you know what she says when she says the bed is green? She ain't talking about the color of the sheets. She's not talking. Anything that's green is alive. It's active and it's animated. She said, listen, boy, when you get over here, I got something for you. Listen, she says our bed is green. It's alive. It's active. It's animated. In other words, not only do you look good to me, and not only do you adore me, but I'm willing. Why? Because I've got you in my brain. All right. Get her brain in her bosom. You can get the body. She says our bed is green. I'm gonna quit because I can see. I'm getting in trouble. Y'all looking at me crazy. I'm making it G-rated. If you look at chapters 4, 5, and 6, you can see that there's a whole lot of stuff going on. But I purposely skipped over that. Not only is her body his by possession, it's her body is his by passion, and finally, her body is his permanently. Chapter 8, verse 14 signifies the permanence, and it's signified not by what she says, but by what she doesn't say. She signifies the permanence of his possession and passion of her body by what she doesn't say. In chapter 2, verse 17, she says, I want you to explore my body, to leap upon my mountains until daybreak. Then again, in chapter 4, verse 6, she talks about them enjoying what they're going to enjoy again until day breaks. I don't mean to be graphic, but I got to tell you, if you get 2 and 3 right, If you get 1 and 2 right, 3 will keep itself right. And guess what? If you get her brain and you get her body, get her bosom, when she gives you her body, you ain't got to rush. You can take your time. She says, listen, before when she talked about their encounters, she said, listen, we can do it till the morning. She speaks up again. She says we can do it until, but when she finally gets to the place where she actually gives him what she's been talking about, she doesn't confine their pleasure until morning. In other words, you ain't got to be gone in the morning. Better yet, boy, you better be ready in the morning. We're going to close out the night, but in the morning, don't get your stuff and get ready to go. Get together and get ready to get. Why? Because she feels secure. Because she feels safe. When she is secure, she is safe, then he will be satisfied. She'll do whatever it takes to keep the bed green and alive. She'll come home from work, take a shower with that right stuff, put on the right lotion, put on that pretty outfit, and wait on you to come in the door. You tired, upset, busted, and disgusted, but she has a way of whispering to you, walking past you, getting a whiff of what she's got on. Why? Because she says, I'm permanently yours, whatever you want to do. And I'm glad today that she is not the orchestrator or the originator of this kind of love. This kind of love takes its clue from God through his relationship with man by way of Jesus Christ. I told you when a woman loves, she loves for real. She loves with her head. She loves with her heart. She loves with her humanity. Or in other words, she loves with her brain. She loves with her bosom. And she loves with her body. I wish you could see the parallel here. In Genesis chapter 1 and verse 16, we were in the mind of God. He said, let us make man in our own image. So he loved us with his mind. In John chapter 3, verse 16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. In Genesis, we were in his head, but in John, we were in his heart. I'm glad today that if you get like Jesus got it, you can love the right way. Not only were we in his head, not only were we in his heart, we were also in his humanity. 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 2, 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 24 says he himself bore our sin in the body on the cross at Calvary. He loved me with his hand when he made me. He loved me with his heart when he sacrificed for me. But he loved me in his body when he gave it up for me. And I'm so glad today that I have the pleasure of his body. Why, Traylor? Because they put nails in his hands. That's his body. They put rivets in his feet. That's his body. They put a crown of thorns on his head. That's his body. They pierced him in the side. That's his body. Then he hung his head in a box on his shoulders. Came up the ghost and he died. What happened when he died, Traylor? He was there all night Friday, all day Saturday, but early Sunday morning, he got up from the grave because he loved me for real. And I've come to tell you, when a woman loves for real, she'll lay down her body for you, sleep off into the evening, then get up again and make sure your needs are met. When a woman loves, she loves for real. When the Lord loves, he loves unto the death. He died one Friday, got up one Sunday, went back to the right hand of the Father, and one of these old days, he's coming back again. I don't know where and I don't know when, but the Lord shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel and the trump of God. The dead in Christ will rise first. We who are alive and remain shall be caught up. She loves